Okay, here we go. I think everything's pretty good. All right, so tonight I'm gonna try my hand at making a few bookmarks. I've got some thin cardboard ish, you know, it's like a light cardboard. It's not super heavy. Let me see here. Let me see here. We will hit. There we go. Okay, so it's not super heavy cardboard. It's pretty thin, but I think it's the perfect size for a bookmark, and we can kind of do some stuff to it to make it more um, look a little bit better, right? So I got some measurements from a bookmark like this, okay, and I learned, I measured it just before. I got the ruler here, right, and I measured it out, and I got 8. You can read that. I don't know if you can, but there's 8 there, and then it's 2 across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it out here, and just kind of measure out 8 on either side, and then cut that, and then I will measure 2 inches along and cut over here, and then make another bookmark out of this one here. So it should. Let's see. It's 8.5 or 8. What is that? 8.5 across. So it should make about 5 bookmarks, plus those little extra scraps we could probably turn into little thin bookmarks if we really wanted to try that. So first thing, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I've got my little template here. I don't know if I'm going to do the rounded edges or not. Let's see if I can get you here. I don't know if I'm going to do the rounded edges or not, but I'm going to try my hand at that. So let's get started. All right. And let me know if the music is a little too loud or a little too low, because it is there for your enjoyment as well. Um, so let's just kind of get started here. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. Here we go. Slide that off to the side here. And let's just kind of get to it. So when I'm going to line up the 8 here. Let me see if my head's in the way. No, I'm good to go. Okay, line up the 8 there. Just kind of along the edge. So let's move it back just a smidge here. Just so we can get that pencil in there. Okay. So get the pencil there. And then we want to do it to this side as well. Do it to this side as well and get the 8 there. There we go. And then, what am I going to do here? Then I think should be able to get, I had a level. I do. Let's see if it's level. Let's hit level. Let's line it up on the edge here. Okay, it looks like it's level. Yeah, okay, so then I can do, so we'll put that there. And then let's go ahead and, oops. Okay, this is why I have this piece of paper here, just because I need to move it there. There we go. Okay, and then I should be able to make it level. Do it like this. But actually, now that I've got it level that way, I actually have one of these. Okay. So let's get up in there. I should probably use a different color move it up so I can actually level it out here. So we're level that way. We're level. Interesting. Okay, so this is on, and it's level. Can you guys see that? Is my head in the way? Okay. So there's the little marker there, and my marker, it just seems, is this not level? Okay. Alright. Let's just go for it and see what happens. Okay. Now I can turn this into one. Can't tell. Let's throw it on a little. It just doesn't seem straight. But okay. Now we need. Now that we've got this kind of situated, we want on that, 2 from there, 2 from there, and then 2 from there. Okay. And then we have we got 1 to 3 there, there, and there. Okay. Oh. Okay, we're going to try that again. I'm sure some of you clocked that right away. That's why we measure twice and cut once. Okay, so we're going to want to start at like the half here. And then go, because that, then we'll start at the half, and then at the 4, and at the 6, and then the 8, and the 10 there. So let's fix that 6. Okay. And then for this one, we want to move over to here out of, is this really almost, this is really 4 inches? I can make 2. Right? No, I can't. I can only make 1. Okay. Okay, so we want to, there. Oh, that's just, good job. Okay. So let's move it over a bit. Okay. We're going to go with that. So we started on the dot with that one. So then we need to do, we need to go on the 2 for this one. Okay. And that should give us the right amount. So this should make 5. And then 2 little ones. We'll start with the 5 and we'll see how far we want to go. Okay. This way. So we want to line up kind of everything where it needs to be. I'm going to line everything up like this, and that should make it straight, regardless of the other end. If I line everything up here, it will be straight. Okay, there's 1. There's number 2. We'll line it up in here. Okay. And in, bring it back across. There we go. Number 3, let's line up the edge and the edge. There we go. Okay, so now this little one, we could make it a little bookmark, or we could just get rid of it. Either way. I'm going to go ahead and do this one now. Okay, so line it up just as we would. Okay. Center. That one's better. Okay. There we go. So there's the 5, and then we got the one little extra here. The next thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and move this. Did I make it the... Oh, that's right. I still have this side to do. Okay, let me go ahead and trim this off here. This little piece. I'll go ahead and do that here. Okay. Right there. I'm going to trim that off. And then we'll go this way. And it should be that first half inch. Is where we want to hit the mark. Right there. All right. Here we go. Let's bring this up. Pop this in. Line this up. Okay. There we are. And there we go. Okay, take this little piece. Okay, so we got this situated. Now we think of, okay, what do we want to do with this? All right, because we could, obviously, you could just leave it like this and it would be boring, but it would still get the job done. Congratulations, we have bookmarks, right? But I don't want to do that. I want to try to do some, some designs, kind of personalize it a bit. We could try getting out like a bone folder and some glue and some construction paper, and we could, put some of that on and do some designs or whatever. But I think I'm going to keep it simple for the first time, and then we can expound upon it later. We can kind of take it and, take the skill that we've learned when it comes to making a solid bookmark, and then, make it better, right? Which is what you're supposed to do with skills. So I am going to pull out the bone fold just in case. Let's take some of this out. Okay, what I am going to do is... Oh, we're hooked on something. Of course we are. Yay. Okay. Nice. Okay. Right, we got that saved. But I am looking for... Okay, we could use something like this. I'm thinking we do a red, right? But I think I have a better red. I know I've got better black because I've been using that to make some books. So I've got plenty of black, some thick, pretty good quality black. I've got a lot of that because I make books as well. So that should be good. But I really think that with the brown, a red would go great. And it looks like I don't have any high quality red, so I'll have to pick some of that up later. Let me check back on this bottom one here. Okay. got elastics and all of that stuff. I've got. Ooh, we can use that later too. That's cool. Okay, I'll make a mental note of that. I have like kind of like a paintbrush Sharpie thing. Okay, I'll set that down for now. And what we'll do is we will use this just kind of generic red to make something. Okay, anything. I've got black and stuff. I've got a bunch of red. Let me just pull that out. I'm gonna try. It would have been better if we'd have done if I'd have had kind of a thicker red, right? Because if you see here, this is kind of the this is kind of the string that I was using for making the books. Just kind of this black here, but I am not going to be using that this time. Let me go ahead and just shove this there. I'll take this little guy, shove that there, and then I need to pull out beeswax. And what else? What else are we thinking? Okay, so for right now, we'll just worry about the sewing. So my thought was to do sewing around and then like the whole edge, and then doing like some tassels maybe, because when you stick it in whether it's your Bible or a book or whatever, when you stick it in that, you can, it'll flow out and kind of do, look cool. That's the goal, right? Let me swing over here real quick. I think I might have some other stuff in my little cabinet here. Do I? That's the question. Do I? Let's see. Anything in here? No. Okay. Nothing crazy. So we're gonna keep it basic. That's what I have. I've got somewhere. I have what is it called? Can't think of it. I'm losing my mind right now. Hold on, I gotta find it. I've gotta find it. No, I've got. Those are like pipe cleaners. I've got like ribbon. That's what it's called. I've got ribbon somewhere. It is black ribbon, but I've got ribbon. Um, Is it in here? Did I have it in here? Maybe. Let's see. Let's see if I've got it in here. I've got my little thing here. Okay. No. No ribbon there. Okay. I have ribbon in here. Pretty sure. Got little denim things, little cloth, little elastic. What's this? Okay, no. Okay, so next time I get into I start doing something like this again, I'll just do the ribbon then. There we go. Slide this down here out of the way, and we'll get right back into it. So I've got that. I've got this. Okay, so we're going to have to do some, because it is thinner, we're going to have to do some there's one, and then there's two. Okay, so it is thinner. We're going to have to go over it multiple times. Let's go with that right there, and then let's oh. Okay. Hook that in. And there we go. I'll put that there. Excuse me. Okay. Let's take our little pull it through the wax here. Okay. Got our little wax. Then got a little dangle over here. Let's cut that. Okay. Then take this. Slide it in. Really? There we go. Okay. So we'll set this. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to want to... So now the question, do I try to push it through on its own? Or do I poke holes first and go from there? Because this stuff is this is gonna have a very small knot compared to the other one that I use. But I'm just getting that little knot in. If I can. Come on. You can do it. Okay, where's my... Where is it here? Sure, I've got these somewhere. That's that. I just had them. Little tweezers. There we go. There's some tweezers right there. Okay. Slide through. Okay, there we go. We got a little this here. Come on. We've got a got a little knot in there. Go ahead and slide this back in here. Okay, so the thought process for this is we'll take it and we'll run it along the outside and make on either side. It'll basically just sew through on either side and get all the way around as much as we can to where you can see just kind of a constant a constant pattern. But my thought is, do I push it through? Speaking of, let me actually grab my most important tool here. grab this thimble. And go from there. I really started kind of sewing when I was in the military. Like, I did some sewing beforehand. I had a basic understanding of it, you know, but we had to kind of sew on our own buttons, and I just kept doing it. But let's see, do I do the dots themselves so that they're even, or do I just kind of stick the needle through on its own? Let's try one dot and see. Okay. So we've got that. What if I, along the bottom here, I can use this as kind of a going off point here, where I just, every two little dots, we just kind of push through. Like this, you know, and then skip one, and there, skip one, yeah. There, and here. Just like that. All right, what do we think about that? Do you see that? Okay, maybe not. Maybe we don't see it. Okay, focus. Focus, like right there. Focus, please. No, stop trying to connect with the light, please. Block off that part of the light. Okay, so we don't see it. I was hoping to give you guys kind of a view, but it didn't really work. Basically, I went along every second slash here, you know, so that, or every little dot here, and then just pushed it along until we start with this first one here, skip it, do it, you know, until we get, I mean, you saw me do it. So let's try one with that, and then we'll try one like just freehanding it possibly. Unless I really like the look of it, then we're just gonna keep kind of going off of what we're doing here. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and just kind of move that. Got that. And then okay. And then we got that. Just keep going. And I made a mistake there. It's popping off, but I think we're doing all right. It's not too straight, but we're kind of just winging this, you know? That one's a little too close. Move it back out. There we go. Sorry if I'm shaking you guys. It is just a plastic table. But why does this thing keep moving? There we go. Okay. We got that going. Does seem to be going through. Okay. Going back. See, this side is a little weak. But that's okay. Mistakes happen. You just kind of learn from them. Hopefully. Okay, we got it lined up here. Skip over. Now, these last couple of days, I haven't been able to do much anything. You know, it was a I was I went to work on Tuesday, which is the beginning of my work week, and I went to work and I just felt awful. My stomach was my stomach was just turning. But I continued, and then I ended up just going home. You know, I got done. You know, kind of checked in freight and kind of got stuff done there. Then I just went home. I was not feeling well at all. I tried yesterday because I didn't want to miss too much work. I tried again yesterday, and it was the same thing. I just like my stomach was just wrenching over, you know, and I ended up going home. I lasted longer yesterday, and then I was up all night, just heaving. So like, I don't know what's going on there. Besides, I've been drinking the fluids and getting all of that. I've been sleeping. But feeling after I woke up from my most recent nap, I've been feeling, just kind of exponentially better. So tomorrow I'm gonna get to work a full day. That's gonna be nice. Or that's if everything stays the same, you know. But that'll be good. I think I'm getting a little too close to the edge. We will see. Make sure I'm getting it right here. So, piece hanging off. Okay, there we go. But I've tried playing Sniper Elite 5 on my PS5. I'm playing Sniper Elite 5 there, and I've been having a good time. My daughter, when I first started the game up, my daughter, I asked them, I said, "Hey, what difficulty should I do it on?" And my middle daughter, she was like, "Death." It's like, what does that mean? And she said that the hardest difficulty, which in that game was authentic. And now levels are taking me hours to complete because I'm trying to be all sneaky and but also eliminate everybody. And then I end up failing in being sneaky. And then, of course, I take over and I just can't be bothered anymore after about, 40 minutes of sneaking and I get caught. I just go all out. I start killing, you know, start fighting basically like an assault style, as the game would put it. Um, but it's been fun. It's been fun. I will say I tried to make a video yesterday. I was gonna upload it to the channel, and and then I ended up like convincing myself not to, and that's one of the things that I struggle with a lot is actually uploading, and um, but I've been, oh man, did I slide it over? Oh, I messed that up. But one of the things that that's one of the things I've been struggling with is trying to upload. I put out some content um, last year, and for the channel wise, it did really good. The I mean, comparatively to other channels, it didn't, but for me, it did really well. It was Little Nightmares 2, and my daughters just loved that. They absolutely loved Little Nightmares 2. So we did that. But then I started doing a game called Sable, you know. And hold on, I gotta grab something to drink. But I started doing a game called Sable. I did 2 videos of that, and they tanked. And of course, a fella got discouraged, and it was just I stopped uploading for a while. Then I put out a video. Um, I put out a video entitled, or I didn't say entitled. I put out a video on Valheim where me and the homie were playing some Valheim together, and I enjoyed doing that. But it was it's difficult, right? It's difficult because um, I want to upload. My dream job as a kid, dream job was being um, a like a guy who got paid to play video games. That was my job, my dream job. I wanted to join the military and then on the side play video games and make money, you know? And I got in there and did that. And of course, I couldn't bring myself to do it, but I had no problem watching other people. And I streamed a little bit back in the day. I'm sure there's a clip still filming around somewhere. I was playing with another fella. Did I tie it into a knot, pulling it through? Come on. That was the whole point of the beeswax. I think I did. See if I could fix it. How did I manage that, man? How did I manage that? There we go. Okay, got it out. But there's a video for probably, I think it was 2015, 2016, of me on another dude's stream just cackling. We were playing BF4 and we were, just having a good time. And he said something, and a plane crashed and blew up. You know, I think it was us. I'm pretty sure it was both of us up. But I was just hysterical. And at that point, I was just kind of watching other people kind of do that. I started getting into, of course, I got into Jacksepticeye back then. The first, the first video I think of his that I saw was, oh man, what was it? I don't remember now. I don't remember the first video I watched of his. But then I just started watching him, like all of his stuff, everything. And that man was one of the inspirations. Like I was like, this can be done, because look at this guy. I saw what he what he started out as, and then I saw him just mold into this charismatic personality who had nothing but love for others. And I was, and of course around that time, Markiplier, I was watching Markiplier as well. They were playing together, and Markiplier's you laugh, you lose, you laugh, the video ends, that kind of whole series there was just so funny. You couldn't help but laugh with the man. He had this infectious laugh, right? And then I was watching who else was it? Who else was I watching back then? Oh man. I feel so disrespectful because I'm like, I can see him. I can see him. Sorry, guys. I have to look it up. I have to look it up here. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna swing over here, and I gotta look it up. Um, YouTube. Do I can't think of his name. Why can't I think of his name? Corey Kenshin. Corey Kenshin. Right. I was watching him at the time as well, and he had this thing over the years where he would like just disappear for a while, you know. And at the time, I couldn't understand, how he could do that. He had the job that he had this job that I wanted, and he was popular, and people liked his content. I couldn't understand it. How he could just disappear. Well, and then I grew up, and I matured. And then I started suffering from it. Because back then I was in the Marine Corps. I was a Marine, you know. I didn't, we didn't have any There was no fear, you know. But guys, like, so I just couldn't fathom how he could do it. And I've really, for the last, especially this latest dip where I was gone, I just, God kept bringing Corey to my mind, and just how I was, because back then I used to say, I used to just, honestly, I would make fun. I was like, how do you? Because I just couldn't see how you had this job that I couldn't, this dream job, you know, and you couldn't upload. So I've been wanting to like reach out to him and apologize. And obviously, he doesn't know who I am. You know, he doesn't know who I am, but I still feel like I've wronged this man because of what I said. Things I've said in private in terms of like just because the man was gone and I thought he was some, just lazy, you know, and unwilling to work, had all of this fame, and didn't do anything with it. But of course, it was just dumb. I was dumb and naive, and now I'm older, and I would hope wiser, but still learning, still young in terms of like compared to most humans. I'm still young, but and like part of me wants to get this video to him as well because obviously we were just talking about it. And I'm constantly in my head about it. Like I could try to send this video, like clip this and send it to him as like an apology, but that's just kind of, it feels really scummy to do. And because like you know, this man is, and of course, I've noticed that a lot of the, the YouTube, I don't want to say idols, but the YouTube like celebrities that I kind of grew up watching are, struggle. And I can tell you that a lot of it is not, that it isn't performative, you know, because there are some, I mean, you guys see it all the time. There's definitely performative, uh, performative disability where people do it because they saw some guy or some gal with with this disability or with this, whether it be mental or physical, and then they see that they get a lot of traction and they try to profit off of it. But you know it's not, when they talk about these disabilities, people legitimately suffer. Like, for example, I'll give an example. Kind of a personal example. Um, I was just recently, because I'm was in the military, so I can take advantage of the VA systems. That is a privilege that I do hold. I Granted, I did have to earn that privilege, but I do have that privilege. So, and But one of the things that I was recently shown when I was talking with my therapist there for other reasons, I was told that I needed to get checked out for ADHD, and um, so I did. I did, and I have it. I was diagnosed with it. Um, and it's and then there's other. I don't want to like just put all these disabilities out that these mental disabilities out there because I don't want to sound performative and I don't want sympathy, right? But it is suffering, and this it showed me. I say all that to say that it showed me um like another perspective, and that's when God brought Corey to my mind. This I'd forgotten about completely. All of this stuff that I had said, you know, that he was lazy. He had all of this privilege, and he's throwing it away, wasting it away. You know, and it wasn't. And he's very open. Very open about it, and well, more open than I would have been previously. And like thinking about it, this man have been suffering. Yeah, and to be if I'm honest, I haven't watched any of his stuff in a while, and I really should, because the man deserves all the fame he has. You know, he deserves it all. Him, Jack, Markiplier, all of these guys deserve it. You know, and just come on, thank you. And one of those things you want a fellow wants to apologize for, and especially my conversion in 2018. Uh, a lot of stuff I did was just brought to the forefront, and I went into this, counterintuitively. I went into this just deep depression, and it affected everything, and I truly knew what it meant to suffer, you know, truly. And then all of these guys were brought to the forefront, because Jack, Sean, Jack. I don't want to call him Sean because we're not, it's not personal, Yeah, even though he's told us his name and all of that, I still feel weird calling him Sean because he doesn't know who I am, you know. And the so anyway, back to the just all over the place. Um, like Jack and Markiplier and Corey Kenshin, all of these guys just like I want to meet them just so that I can apologize to them, you know, for the way that I was. And whether that's a pride thing for me, it very much could be. and that's one of the sins that I suffer with deeply. That's why like I have this immense perfectionism. So that's why I'm doing this. Honestly, that's why I'm doing this right here. I'm giving myself, or trying to give myself, permission to fail in things, so that I can, stop, right? And um, but anyway, uh, back to back to the topic at hand. I do like this poke process first. I don't know if you can see that, but I think that looks pretty cool. And what I'm thinking of doing is when I get all the way back around, I will then go backwards, and then afterwards we will I'll trim this off some more, and then we can start adding uh, little tassels and stuff on the end of it. But this is stuff that I like to do. I like to do this stuff. I but my like I said before, my dream job is to be a a like make money playing video games and doing this stuff is kind of, and I but I don't, like, I'm not doing this to make money, but I do my, like I said, that little boy, you know, when I was young, my dream was to join the military. I wanted to be special forces, you know. I wanted to be that special forces guy. Uh, and then I upgraded and joined the Marine Corps, you know. Uh, joined that wonderful brotherhood. And but then of course that was I was my behavior was affected there too, because I was super prideful and super uh, lazy. Honestly, my laziness is the reason I'm not in anymore, because I procrastinated. I missed the deadline to reenlist. I very much could have. There was, my pride didn't let me listen in terms of like maintaining weight standards. I was always just like slightly above weight standards, and I would have to do all sorts of these jumping through hoops, when all I really needed to do was stop drinking Mountain Dew and stop eating Wendy's and go to the cafeteria and eat right. Um, I'd say cafeteria. It's the chow hall in there, but I mean, I guess you guys would know what chow hall is. All that lingo is common knowledge now. But um, the that's what I needed to do, and I was just too proud. I knew that then. I guarantee you, I did. But I was just too proud to do anything. I was like, I know, too proud, too lazy, just focusing on me being selfish, and it's not the it's not my finest moment. I'll say that, but and if I am rambling on too much, my therapist has said that I should be more open. I mean, obviously, there's things that I don't say, but just one, being honest with yourself is huge. And the you know it's huge in the aspect of like, this thing is not, I'm not using it at all, but it's huge in the aspect of you can't fix something if you're not honest about it. And many a hard lesson. That's how I do things the hard way. And you know, like the reason that I am streaming rather than making a video is that I was going through and one of trying to make as little um as little hindrances to getting a video out as possible, because what I do, if I'm okay, so let's be honest here, right? I have what is known as I have ADHD. What did they call it? ADHD, but inattentive, right? P90 on the test or whatever it is. But basically, it's um, it's not it's very hard to get started on things. It's very hard to get that inertia going, right? From what I understand, there's that the hardest part is getting going, but once you get there, it's easy to stay going. So, um, it's literally been the last month and a half has been me doing this stuff, trying to get started. And I recorded a video yesterday, and then of course deleted it because I just couldn't. It's more than likely pride that got the better of me. So it's like it's not perfect. I can't make it perfect. So therefore you can't see it. But yeah, here I am. And then of course with all the stuff going on in the world right now, fellow wants to disengage. But yeah. And so that's why the if you've been to my channel before, um, if you've been to my channel before, you'd see that my main channel page is completely different, you know, and stewardship and all of that stuff, because that's what we're called to do. Steward what's ours. And this is one of those things that I'm trying to do where it's like I want, in everything that I do, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And go there, you know. But yeah, no, we're just so like right now I'm trying, like I said, the title, I believe the title is it a fun way to make bookmarks, or learning a new skill or something along those lines, because like I'm trying to learn new skills every day to better myself. And um and I enjoy crafts and working with my hands and stuff. So this is kind of that thing that I'm trying to just trying to move forward. Um, and I haven't decided, like, because I want to I want to come off as sincere and natural, but at the same time, I want to make sure that the words that I choose are correct, because I feel like that's what people deserve. right? People deserve to have the my thoughts. Um, how do I put this? You don't want to just start saying stuff because then you're gonna get your tongue is going to get ahead of your thoughts, and the tongue is wicked, and or the tongue is and the tongue is just a dangerous weapon. So I feel and I believe my whole heart that, and by heart I mean my my soul, my being, right? That the that people deserve to have, as the Bible puts it, season your words with salt, right? So they deserve to have your carefully measured words, and because words are important, the words we use are important. They are the window to which we see the world, and it's something that it's also a way that you can have others see the world, and your words are the way that you can explain to others how you see the world. And it's one of those things I feel is very important. So what I want to put it I say all that to say this, that um I want to, whether it be through pride or whatever, I want to get to these men and um and apologize to them for the words that I've spoken to them, or about them, I should say. You know, back in my rashness in my youth. And I say youth like I'm some old head. I'm only 30. Well, I'm 33, but I'm in my 30s, and it's just um it's just a what's the word? It's something I feel I have to do, you know. And that is also one of my goals as well with the channel. I should put it in the description. You know how like Brandon Ferris did when he was talking about the uh like his goal to meet Michael Jordan. You know, I should put it there as well. Just make the goal public so people can like keep me in check about it. But one of my goals is to meet those three men and just discuss with them, pick their brains. I know that like Jack and um, Mark aren't Christian, as far as I know. They aren't. They aren't that. Um, but and I'm, as far as I know, Corey is and still is. But the just because they aren't Christian doesn't mean that um, that their perspective isn't valid, because I mean I see it all the time. Christians quote Aristotle. They quote all of um, the Stoics. you know, and none of them were. But you can still glean truth because the glory of God is perceived, from the earth. So you can still, God can still use people who aren't His, children to, what's the word I'm looking for, to bring somebody to Him. But that is still one of my goals, is to meet these men, because they are them. Okay, so here, let me put it to you this way: there are a few people that have really kind of brought my perspective on how this YouTube job kind of works and is, right. There these influences in my speech, and like, if you look at some of my videos, the reason I have these end videos and I have a song that at the end of the video that stays consistent, is these men, right? Like, and the reason I start the videos with "Hello everyone," right, is because of these men, right? These men were huge influences on me, and I you want to meet. I'd love to meet the men who had these influences on me, right? So it's been an interesting, it's been an interesting time. Okay, let's stop getting ahead of ourselves. Watching them back in 2015, 2016, watching Corey, throughout the last several years, I say several years, since then, right? I saw him, it's roughly around the same time, and then just continued over the years to go back in and see him, and see how he's doing. And just kind of glean this knowledge off of them, and just because they are such I would say masters of this craft, because I truly do believe that they are. Okay. Yeah, I truly believe that they are masters of the craft. All right, what am I doing here? Let's try that again. Let's go back through, pull that out. There we go. Oh, see, I went through. That's why I went through the wrong one. Okay. So now we've got this. Got this. So now I want to go through here, because now I need to do the opposite. I need to cover both lines. So rather than doing like space in between, it's going to be a solid, a solid line, kind of like that. So you'll get the you'll obviously see the break in them, but you'll get it, right? You get the picture, right? But that is one of my goals, and at that point, no matter how big the channel is, right, no matter how big the reach is, when I meet them, that's when I know that I can, I don't want to put that burden on them. No, that's not right. No, as what I mean, I don't mean like that's when I know I'll make it, but like that is the goal, right? Because I do want to meet these men. I do want to glean knowledge off of them. Another person who I watch, who's just a phenomenal person. You really should check out. Even if you don't like Call of Duty, you really should check her out, and that's Noisy Butters. She is just, from what I see, just a phenomenal woman, right? Positivity and happiness. Just the smile is infectious, and the you know, her personality is great. Her calm and like collected demeanor when things aren't going her way is something to aspire to. And it's something. I watched her for the longest time. Um, Here recently, I haven't been watching a lot of any of it. It's all been like trying to get my life together videos, and try to better my life to to kind of get my life together so that I can leave an inheritance for my children's children, and I can be a better example for my children and be the effective leader that God calls me to be in this house, that spiritual leader. And it's it's something it's something I wrestle with every day, and it's really hard. It seems really hard to do because I take medication for it, and that medication seems to obviously run out middle of work. And so when I get home, I don't have the urge to do anything, and I just revert back to the inactive guy. Say inactive, but the inattentive guy, the guy that's trying to do. I end up watching TV or YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and not doing any of the stuff I want to do. So, oh man, it's something we got to, something each person has to deal with. And let's see, I think I'll do it this way. I don't know why I'm all the way out here. You guys can't see anything. I'm talking up here, doing stuff when I should be right here. See, I started not focusing on it again, and there we are. Okay, so there's the one, and then we do it again, and we'll pull it up, and then we'll slide it through and pull it taut, and then pull it in back through and pull the knot through the hole. So then the knot's on the back side, and then I can leave it, take the little crane scissors and give it a little cut and leave that there. And then this I will take that and put it there. Then get the string again, and we pull one, two, and then we cut. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for a second so that I can tuck this in. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Okay. Got that there. And then I need to run it through the beeswax again. And let's see here. I think I was getting that. Okay. Put that back up there. But hopefully the algorithm takes my video and shows it to people. And then we get start growing as a channel and just and take off. I probably should put TikToks out, make TikToks of all of this, and that way I can bring more people to the channel. But of course, you don't really know how many people want to watch this type of video. Okay, hold on. What is preventing me? Is that little strand right there? Let's see if I can get it right. Yeah. Okay. Now this should go in the hole. Okay. Okay. And then get this in there. And we go from there. But and another thing about this, having the job that I have, I get into work, like I leave the house at 6:45 to walk to work, and then I am back at my home by 6. Right? And that has made my after work life. Like today I was off because of the stomach issues I was having. Ever since I had my gallbladder removed, I anything regarding the gut is just, it seems to be exponentially worse. But I feel loads better now, so got it. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got the little knot. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. Okay, so now where that old knot went in or came out. So first I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this here, and then we'll put that over there. But where the old knot came out, that's where I'm gonna put the new the starting point of the deal here. Then we can keep this to one side. But we also need to be able to we want to keep the knots all on one side, but then we also we have to make that full, the full line, the segmented line or whatever it is. Oh, come on. This is supposed to prevent this from happening at beeswax. But hey. Alright. So we haven't got much longer. What time is it now? Oh, it's only 6. Hey. Let's go. Let's go. And my wife, beautiful wife, has been so gracious to keep an eye on the kids and keep them kind of, like occupied watching a movie or whatever, to keep them kind of quiet so you guys don't hear them screaming at each other or whatever, because they get my children are very super competitive, and when they play together they get then plus they're playing with their mother who's in a different room, and they end up screaming back and forth to each other to get each other's attention, right, on top of just screaming at each other, because children don't have a what's it called? They have one setting for their voice, and that's loud. Um, so, but she's being super super gracious to do that for me, and um, I'm of course super grateful for it. And she's been, when I was telling you about all this suffering, she has been there through all of it, and it's just been, you know, just been amazing. But so we are almost done with the sewing portion of this particular bookmark. It is going to be brown, but I do have, like I said, I have those brushes that will I don't really need that, you know. But I have those brushes that will uh, or those Sharpie brush things. I'll show it to you when I get when I get done with this, because then we can write something on this, or uh, you know, we don't even have to use that on here. We don't want to. I have different markers and pens and such that we can use. We can kind of make just a bookmark out of this. Now I got this type of cardboard actually from my job. My when they send us new flyers and stuff, the back of the flyers is usually this cardboard, and they were just throwing it away. You know, they were just throwing it away. So I picked it up because it's the perfect thickness for a like a bookmark. You know, because the only other type I have construction paper, and then I have the bookboard. You know, that super pressed cardboard that's makes up what, you know, bookbinding and whatnot. Because I do a little bit of that. I made a few books for my son, because my son is not too, at least growing up, he wasn't really, he's not really careful with that, right? We're pretty sure he's autistic, and we're still waiting on tests. We have a couple of tests coming up for it, but he's on a bunch of different stuff for behavior and um, ADHD and all this stuff. But um, he's, you know, he loves books, but he gets so excited. He gets so excited that he starts tearing. So what I figured out, I can take construction paper and fold it into different you know, I can take construction paper and I can make a book out of it. And then I can use I can either just go straight duct tape for the cover, or oh, hold on, we got a knot. Or I could do, there we go. Okay. I could do like the book board and then do the duct tape. And then it doesn't matter if the pages tear. We don't have to give it back to the library or anything. And he can color in it, he can draw in it, and do all sorts of stuff, and it's really really fun. So I bought a bunch of stuff to make the books, but now I figured, you know, I might as well make some bookmarks while I'm at it. Something I can do. I have a whole bunch of crafts and stuff, and um but we are almost done with this. And of course, just this We're sitting at, what is it, about an hour and a half, and we're just doing this, you know. But there's good conversation, you know. So that's nice. And of course, when I get done here, I'll find some point in the video, or I'll make use something to make a thumbnail. Because I'm pretty sure it's just using the channel background or whatever as a thumbnail. And you know, I am working my way through figuring out, just kind of figuring stuff out, you know, figuring this YouTube thing out, because I know that, like, I want my videos to be super high quality, you know, but I know that I'm not going to be able to do it. Right? It'll take me far too long, and then I will definitely kill myself out of the idea before it even comes to fruition. And I don't want that to happen. So I've been, you know, talking with therapists or my therapist, and I've been looking up information myself, just trying to determine things I can do. And one of those things was give yourself permission yourself permission to be bad. Right? To be bad at something. You don't have to be perfect. No matter what what anything says. And of course I can say this stuff, but still getting myself to do it is another thing, you know? So it's not a big deal in terms of, like, because obviously I got this video up, and I'll try to make the video catchy, because I do still want to play the algorithm and get people to click on the video, even though this is a live stream. I can still there's still got to be a way to get people to see it, because once it's done being a live stream, it then becomes a normal video and people get recommended it. So I'm going to do this, and we're almost done with the bookmark here. We're almost done with the bookmark here, or at least this part of the bookmark. Because then I want to put on some tassels, although I don't have, you know what, I don't have the ribbons, which I can get. We got this little local store here that is it's a local crafts and little knickknacks and all sorts of stuff. It's really cool. And I'm just so glad that we are able to, or I have access to the store, because then I'm able to do a lot of this stuff. Now, some of this stuff you get from, like, Dollar General and whatnot, but, like, I'm able to get a lot of good stuff from, what did I do? Okay, I pulled that. That's what I did. Okay. It's like, what did I do? How did I manage that? But I got it sorted. Oh, John, come on. Get up in there. There we go. Alright. Alrighty. So there we are. Now we're going to slide it back through because we remember we want all the knots and stuff on the one side. Okay, so we're going to try to pull that little knot through. Got that from bookbinding technique, which I learned about from a fella, a YouTuber. It's Rajiv. It's Rajiv. Oh man, Lord forgive me. He worked with like HGTV and stuff for a while, and then he's got his own channel where he does like handwriting, and he did bookbinding and stuff like that, and clay making and all sorts of stuff. He does all sorts of cool stuff, and that's where I learned how to make a book, because I had this thought of wanting to make a book for my son. So I looked it up, and his HGTV video was the first video I saw about it. And then I searched up his channel, and I started watching a lot of that stuff, and that was really cool. All right, so we got this. Let me go ahead and cut, and then I'm gonna have to tie off this. Because this we can work. Might be able to make tassels out of that, but okay, let's get this through because I've always got big fingers. There we go. And then slide these through and away. Okay, we want to make sure that we get it in the knot. Oh, it's just right there. Okay, we'll try it we'll try again, try to get another one, and try to get it right in between those two to make a nice uniform section so it can actually pull through. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and chop off this little bit of extra string over here. There we go. Okay, so that's done. Slide that back over there. Slide this up here. Okay, so this is the first one. That one took us, this one right here, just this, took us about an hour and 40 minutes, give or take. And that was for cutting all of it and then sewing just this specific one. But if you notice, all of the stuff up here is on the back. I'm going to go ahead and shorten some of these extensions here. What I could do is get some of that, like, what's it called? Archival glue. And, you know, like glue it down. It'll dry clear, and then you can glue it down that way. You know, or I could just leave it as a character. It's part of the character of the thing here. Of course, I didn't pull tight enough on that one, but that's okay. That's all right. We got this going here. Now, I did promise you guys I would show you the markers I was talking about. Sorry about that. I bumped the camera there. Okay. I'm gonna pop this off. Love these things, by the way. These things are awesome. I'm privileged enough that I work at a company, and the company sells this stuff, so I get a discount on it. So I don't pay the price that Milwaukee sells them for. But this is what I was talking about. These. I got these from the local craft store that I was telling you about. These things are meant for, or you can use them. So I bought them because I'm studying Japanese, right? I say studying, and that's one of the other things that I started and then of course stopped because, you know. And I got these because they have, look at that, right? And they bend. Here, I'll use one of the scrap pieces here, right? When you put it on, the tip bends just slightly, so you can do the let's see if I can still do it here. Oh man. You can do the across and then down and then over like that. I believe that's how you do it. I believe. I don't remember. Or that one. In there. Something like that, you know. Where you start, you could pick it up and press it down to get that brush stroke look. And I thought that would be really cool to try to do, you know, because like back in the day, or at least I was told, back in the day, the Japanese would do the calligraphy, where they would have the brush strokes, and you would have to like pick up the brush, the right thing, and do all of that stuff. And I thought maybe that might be cool to do, but I have a bunch of books, and of course I start it, and then I go for like a week, and then I stop. You know, so okay, we've got this. So now I'm trying to think of what we can do with it because I want to finish a bookmark tonight, right? I want to finish at least one tonight. So maybe this one isn't a tassel one. Maybe this one is just a normal bookmark. We got the edge on it, and then because like later, what we can do is we can like do draw a design or something, and then sew that into it. You know, so take like a blue thread and thread into it and make like a letter or something like that. But I'm thinking we do green, right? We'll go green and we'll make a bookmark for the channel here. All right, so we'll say this. Ego. Ego 3 box. Gotta pull that up there. Let's do that. Box. It's not gonna. It's obviously not gonna be. Probably should have. Okay, Eco 3 Foxtrot. That looks like an E because I went to do that instead of that. So that's actually an F, not an E. But, you know, something like that. Where we do Eco 3 Foxtrot for the channel. And then on this side, we do... let's not do blue here. Let's do... Or no, let's not do green. Let's do, say, blue. And we do... I got one. Here we go. We'll do this here. We'll do it in red. Subscribe. And then we'll write it again in blue print instead of cursive. We'll write it in blue print. Subscribe. Ta-da! Subscribe. Yeah, it looks kind of awful when you look at it like that, but that's what this is for, permission to make mistakes, right? So there's today's bookmark for the video. We almost made it 2 hours. So, that, I mean, hey, we're doing pretty good on that aspect. Again, like the goal is to eventually do, maybe do one video a week and then do live stream, every night or something like that, where I work on a video that we put out where it's maybe a gaming video or something like that, and then we do one video or one live stream a night, 5 nights a week or whatever it is, you know, just so that we have uh, this kind of going on. So I want to thank you guys for joining. All right, I want to thank you guys for listening to my, the babbling of a 30-something-year-old man. And I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, leave a like down below. If you want to see more, because I am going to be putting out more. I know I've said that before and I went on a hiatus, but the plan is to still do a live stream. So tomorrow we might make another bookmark and try to make it 1% better than this one, and then kind of go from there. So that would be nice. I'm going to go ahead and leave that right there. It looks like, oh, of course it is. I'll have to reverse that image. I should have known. I'm going to have to fix that camera at a later time because obviously this is my left hand, this is my right hand. So I'm going to have to fix that camera. But maybe. Oh, no, it's just upside down. Because you guys are facing that way instead of the opposite way. All right, I'm coming from the top instead of the bottom. I might turn that camera around and see, and then that way you guys can see what I'm writing when I have it this way. But there we are. Now you can see it. I'll leave that to it. I'll fix that camera so that it's actually working the opposite way, so we can, you guys can see my hands coming at the bottom. But like I said, if you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, because I am going to be doing some more live streams and maybe one video a week. See how that works. See what we can do. I want to thank you guys for joining us, and have a good night, and God bless.